Hi everyone, it's Rob Watson, the module leader for TECH1002 Social Media and Technology, and this is a short summary overview of the topics that we'll be covering in the 15th lecture for this year. The title of the lecture is Spreadable Media. I've made the PowerPoint presentations, lots of diagrams, lots of clips in as usual, and the notes have been posted up onto the DMU Commons wiki, so you can download these and look at them in advance if you need to. There's the links and any diagrams that are necessary in there as well. So the idea is to think about how media is understood in a post-broadcast or transmission age. So one of the changes that's taken place in recent years is that we've shifted from thinking about media as something which is centrally managed, which is something which is controlled by a small number of people, and which is broadcast to a large number of people. So the transmitter metaphor analogy is really useful because it's one focal point and it's spread to many people. What we've changed to over the last few years is that we're now in a kind of network model. We're distributed through a web or a network of that word that we used in a previous lecture. Rhizome is a good word for that. And it's kind of things are spread out around a network. And the difference is that in the transmission model, everybody watches the same content at exactly the same time, and it's only a one-way process. In the network model, interactions are dispersed. People can watch things when they need to and when they want to, rather than when they have to. And there's a two-way process, and things can be shared. So Henry Jenkins talks about this in the way that media circulates. And we go from an age where there's a kind of limited range of options for circulated media to now to a point where, we kind of take for granted the fact that we can share media quite easily, and we can post videos online and we can download them, and there's an open archive that's available for us. So the challenge is, according to Jenkins, is what difference does it make to content in this new regime? What does it do in terms of the kind of things that people will watch? So people are more likely, as we talked about with music, to share music because of recommendations. Television is now working in the same way. Netflix is generated through a rating system where you rate the programs that you like. All networks and Amazon and services like it, what they do is they suck in data from the users. How long did you watch a program for? How did you watch each of the episodes? Where are you based? Is there a cluster of people in the same area who watch similar kinds of things that aren't necessarily a broad audience or a large audience, but which give them enough information to be able to target those people because they're committed to watching a program over time. So we've seen a change, and we're seeing a change towards what Jenkins called more meaningful forms of participation. And this participation takes the form of supporting, if you like, bottom-up communication, grassroots communication, rather than the previously top-down forms of communication. So Jenkins coins a phrase: if it doesn't spread, it's dead. And this means that what your media that we make and produce and interact with, it's got to be something that you'd want to pass on to other people. You'd want to say, hey, I saw this, you'd like this, what did you think of this? It kind of becomes part of a conversation. And TV and TV particularly was always kind of focused on the water cooler moment. It's a kind of classic way of thinking: does your program get to people talking the next day in the office or across the garden fence at home? So there's that kind of water cooler moment is no longer confined to the next day at work. It's kind of instantly generated through Twitter and Facebook and other forms of social media that accompany the conversation that is based around the kind of program. So the kind of media landscape has shifted and changed, and the kind of metaphors that we use to think about socially enabled network-based media, they're shifting and changing as well. And it's kind of a case that what we do is we invent the future using the words of the past. We haven't invented the new words yet that will make sense in the future. But things like Jenkins uses words like thinking about television, for example, as a kind of, it used to be a sticky kind of medium, based on the idea that what your intention was as a broadcaster was to get eyeballs to watch a program for a set amount of time. Now the idea is to make your media spreadable so that people are able to share and able to spread the content that you produced. So it kind of goes against the grain of a mainstream media. It also challenges to some extent the kind of idea of, if you like, what's generally called viral media. The kind of almost as if it's like a kind of disease that's being spread. It's not a very positive image. It's a very negative image of the virus, and somehow we're being corrupted. Whereas something which is spreadable is generated by the users. The interest is generated by the users themselves, and it ties in with a lot of transmedia instances like role play, cosplay, fandom, and books, and costumes, or everything that kind of forms a kind of fan pattern of watching TV. So the notes are up on the wiki. The reading associated with this week is, let me just scroll down for a second onto the wiki. We're on Henry Jenkins' chapter 5, which is about designing content for spreadability. You might also want to read an article which was in the paper this week by Simon Jenkins. It was in The Guardian, and he was talking about an age of post-truth politics and how we determine facts and what's true and what isn't true. I think it's really relevant to the kind of debates that have come out with the election of Donald Trump and now President Trump, and the way in which truth or lies are spreadable media in themselves. So that's well worth reading. There's also a documentary which is available via the Boxer broadcast, which is The Rise of the Superstar Vloggers. So it's a look at the way that bloggers, particularly through YouTube, have gained popularity in recent years, and that they're kind of now a part of the mainstream culture of people's media patterns and the networks and fan networks that exist around them. So hope you managed to be able to get hold of all of that information, and we'll talk about it at the workshops during the week, and we'll also go through some exam revision sessions and pointers at the lecture as well. So I'll see you on Thursday morning.